Okay, so one of the biggest treats in Kurly Meets is to meet great people, and today I am honoured to be speaking with Erin Gilbey, Birmingham Hub Manager for the National Literacy Trust. Erin, how are you today?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Praises, praises, praises. So, Erin, one of the first questions I ask people when I start a little interview like this is to ask them about their name. Does your name have a meaning, or do you know anything about the heritage of your name, where it comes from? Or?
Yeah, so my first name, Erin, means island, and I don't necessarily have any immediate connection to Ireland. My parents like the name, but since they chose that name, we found out my granddad is convinced that we're descended from an Irish woman and one of the Spanish Armada, and they ran away to England together to have a child, which I think is completely false, but I really like the story. So yeah, that's like my clinging on to some Irish heritage. But no, really, they just like the name.
Fantastic story, all that is. That could be made into an epic movie of some description.
It's so, I've looked on Ancestry and it's so definitely not true. I love it anyway.
yeah. Oh, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. So you are the current Hub Manager for Birmingham for the National Literacy Trust. How are things going so far? I know you're about 9 weeks into your journey so far. How have things been?
It's been amazing. The National Literacy Trust is just such a lovely organisation to work for, and I've met lots of wonderful people within the NLT, but also so many wonderful teachers and students and writers within 8 weeks. It's been so rich. It's been really, really amazing.
Fantastic. And you're a writer yourself?
Yeah, I write poetry and plays a bit as well. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So, going back to my origin story then about yourself, how did you get into writing poetry or plays? What kind of inspired you?
I've sort of just always written, and I've always read as well. My parents are both English teachers by trade.
Wow.
So we read together a lot as a family, and reading and books were a huge part of my life, and I decided quite early on that I wanted to be a writer. Peter Pan was my favourite when I was really little. And then as my kind of writing developed, I entered a few competitions, and a big turning point, I think I was about 14 or 15, I was trying to work it out. I entered a first story writing competition.
Wow.
And I won a place on an Arvon course.
Wow.
Down in Devon. My dad drove me from Lincoln to Devon, which is 8 hours, so much appreciated. And I had mentorship on that week from Selena Godden, performance poet, who's one of my favourite poets now, but I think meeting her and meeting the other poets and writers who were on that course really made me go, writing and literature, reading and literacy are going to be really important for me forever, but also this might be a career. That was a really pivotal moment. And then I decided I wanted to do English at university because that seemed like the natural way into literacy and literature. But I arrived early to the University of Birmingham on that open day, and the English and Creative Writing course talk was on, and I went, I'll just go into this as well. I'm definitely just going to do English. And it was Dr. Luke Kennard who was presenting.
Wow.
Another incredible local poet.
Wow.
But yeah, I didn't know much about him. I didn't know anything about the course, but I think it was a half an hour talk, and by the end I was sold. That's where I wanted to be, and that's what brought me to Birmingham. And through studying here, I fell in love with the city. Decided that I wanted to stay here, and set up a creative writing CIC, which kind of led to a 5-year freelance career in creative writing and the arts. So running workshops, producing festivals, doing a lot of my own writing. Got a couple of bits published. And that brought me here. The NLT was really supportive of my freelance career, and so when I saw that the National Literacy Trust Hub Manager position was being advertised, I thought, that's the next step for me if I can. And I'm really honoured that that's where I ended up. So yeah,
fantastic! Wow, what a journey! And it kind of stems from you taking that leap of faith and going for that competition.
Yeah,
and the doors that opened up. So, if you're listening and you're a writer, make sure you are applying for these competitions. And is there anything at the moment that the National Literacy Trust are looking to push over the next few months in terms of competitions? And I guess people will be able to keep an eye out for those then. Anyway, I know there's Haunted
Birmingham, which is a bit more relaxed than a competition, because if you want your poem or story to be shared through that, then we definitely will share it. It's not competitive.
Amazing.
But what we're asking is for people to write a scary story set somewhere in Birmingham. So it could be set somewhere traditionally spooky, I don't know, on the canal side. We had a lot of canal stories one year. Or it could just be in your local fish and chip shop, like Dad's Lane Fish and Chip Shop. I'm sure there are some ghosts around there, and it has to be scary. But that's it. That's all of the parameters of that. So if you're interested in writing and you want to give it a go, or if you've never written anything before but you've met a ghost once, then please
we want to hear about
those. We want to hear about it, exactly.
Yeah. And I've got until the 1st
of December to submit those, and there'll be a celebration event at the Birmingham Central Library in January as well. Details of that are all online.
Fantastic, amazing. So you mentioned quite a few highlights there, Erin. So on the opposite end of the spectrum, have there been any like difficult spots, and if so, what got you through those moments, and in times of creativity, maybe there's been writer's block, or I don't know. But.
I think the pandemic was difficult, so I graduated into 2020 with this new creative writing CIC I'd set up, and decided I wanted to stay in Birmingham. So one of my best friends who'd started working in care spoke to me and said, I want to stay in Birmingham as well. So we rented a house together and just tried to get by for that year. But it felt, it was quite an isolated space to be in, especially working freelance for the first time. Met a lot of people on Zoom. But what really got me through was the creative writing literacy community, including the National Literacy Trust. Harry, who was the hub manager before Kyle, I think a couple of generations before Kyle, was part of that network at that time. The local arts forums were super supportive, and then my fellow creatives as well, and fellow writers. It was a funny old time, but I think having that really strong creative community and the kind of beautiful, welcoming arts community of Birmingham really pulled me through. So
that's amazing. Because there's lots to be said about shared, especially when there's something major like a massive global pandemic, and just knowing that how you're experiencing it, other people are as well in different ways, I suppose. It's different. But the cathartic process about writing about it as well, putting your thoughts onto paper and sharing it, and then getting that affirmation from others, that acknowledgement, and so that's that safe space. Do you have any words of advice that kind of permeate? Harry sounds like a legend, by the way. So we want to give Harry a big shout out wherever you are, Harry. So a big well done, man, for helping to steer a lot of people doing some difficult, choppy waters. Any words of advice of
I think
running a CIC?
Something which my co-founder for my kind of the CIC I ran before I started with the National Literacy Trust is always really on it with, is keeping her own reading and writing practice going. And working alongside her has really taught me that investing in that and making sure that I'm always reading, and making sure that I make kind of 20 minutes writing poetry in lunchtime after work, means that I stay connected to that world, and means that I've got ideas and inspiration for activities to share when I'm running workshops in schools, or when I'm talking about reading with students or with adult groups. I think it's a really simple piece of advice, but one that is easy to forget when you're in the midst of everything, keeping reading and keeping writing.
Yeah, that's very true. Sometimes you get lost in the sea of the other things that you have to do, and then your creativity wanes in the sidelines. So that's really good advice. Thank you, because I'm going to take that on board as well. Do my accounts too much, and not getting on a creative side.
It's so hard. There's so much admin that goes alongside being creative, but you got to remember why you're doing the admin at some point, I think.
This is true. So I know it's very early on your journey at the moment as the Birmingham Hub Manager for the National Literacy Trust in Birmingham, but is there anything on the horizon that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so next year is the National Year of Reading, which the National Literacy Trust is leading on. So it's just the most exciting time to possibly be joining the organisation, and there's so much in the works. In spring next year, we'll be doing a project called Whole City Read, where we'll be asking people across Birmingham to read a single book together, and then there'll be some author events and things in association with that for different groups. We've got a few other ideas in the works for later on in the year, but lots about reading and bringing people together and connecting over stories. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a really good year.
Fantastic. I don't know if there's any other announcements you want to make at all, whether there's something for yourself, like releasing a pamphlet or social media platforms, anything?
I guess if you're interested in kind of eco-writing and stuff, then my Instagram handle is Gilbey, GILBEY_rights. And if you're interested in the National Literacy Trust Birmingham Hub and keeping up with what we're doing, then we're on Instagram as well. So you can find us on social media and on our website. Haunted Birmingham's all on there as well. So yeah, please do get involved and send us your scary stories if you'd like to.
Fantastic. Well, Erin, it's been a huge pleasure to have this moment with you. Kurly meets Erin Gilbey, Birmingham Hub Manager for the National Literacy Trust. Thank you so much again for your time. It really means a lot.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. And if you found this helpful or valuable in any kind of way, then please feel free to stay connected by liking and subscribing to receive more helpful and valuable information coming your way through the algorithm. In the meantime, please take care. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.